Today, I will be talking about the social issue of sexual assault and rape on college campuses, and I am Madison Edwards. Okay, so in order to better understand this issue, I'm going to define sexual assault and rape. So North Carolina has different laws. Each state actually has different laws of what is considered sexual assault and what's considered rape. So, sexual assault in North Carolina can be defined as when a person commits a sexual offense by engaging in a sexual act with another person by force and against the will of the other person, or with another person who lacks capacity, either mentally or physically, and the defendant knows or reasonably should know of that incapacity. Um, Rape in North Carolina is defined as involving vaginal penetration. The act is not consensual, and rape is considered to have 2 degrees. There's first and second degree. So the first degree occurs when someone forces a victim to have non-consensual sex while the victim either possesses a deadly weapon, inflicts serious injury upon the victim, or is aided by other people. Statutory rape also falls in to the category of first degree, and this is when a person who is at least 18 years of age engages in vaginal intercourse with a victim who is under the age of 13 years old. Second degree rape in North Carolina is when someone forces the victim to have non consensual sex. The victim is incapable of giving consent due to a mental disability or incapacitation or physical helplessness. Why do I care about this problem? So, um, the big reason is as a student here at UNC, I've noticed a lot of trends of sexual assault and rape, and UNC has not really, as an institution, done the best at addressing it and moving forward from it. So, back in November, over the course of 5 days, there were 3 rapes that were reported on campus. These incidents occurred on different dates over the course of the previous 12 months. But once one victim came forward and reported one, then a few others followed afterwards. I also found previous UNC annual reports that stated that in 2021, there were 19 rapes on campus, 14 in 2020, and 20 in 2019. To further this argument, I did some research on the Daily Tar Heel, which is a news company on Franklin Street that they operate out of Franklin Street, and I'm sure you've seen the blue boxes around campus. They print off the newspapers and deliver those, and they also have their own website. And so, in the past few years, many of the Daily Tar Heel articles have been centered on the occurrence of sexual assault on campus, and a lot of them have focused on the lack of response from UNC. So, I found 2 separate articles regarding 2 separate stories of sexual assault and the experiences of that. So, the first one, the quote I took from one of the articles is, and I do represent UNC. I represent the 1 in 3 women who are sexually assaulted on college campuses. I represent the intelligent young women who come into this institution to study and accomplish great work, only to be exercised of all morale, their diplomas inked with pain and fear. I also represent the lucky ones, the women who barely come out of that pain alive. This was written by Savannah Bradley. She has graduated now, but she was a student at UNC and she also worked for the Daily Tar Heel. And she chose to write about her experience with sexual assault on campus for her farewell article. In that, she detailed that her very first day as a student on campus, she was assaulted by a student in one of her classes where he put his hand on her thigh and slowly inched up under her skirt. Um, and she remarked that she was terrified from the very beginning at school. She left the classroom she left the classroom in a hurry and went home, and she said she cried in her dorm shower. And she actually, after COVID happened and we were all back on campus, she was on a bus, and this is a different occurrence. Somebody came up behind her on the bus and was groping her and grabbing her butt, and he had a knife in his pocket. And so she said she was very lucky because the doors had not yet closed, and so she ran off the bus and just felt very unsettled. And when she brought these situations up to UNC, nothing really happened afterwards, and nothing was really addressed. Um, there is another quote from the mother of a sexual assault survivor on UNC's campus, and she says, "It was daylight. He was in his own room doing work. And if that can happen to him, it can happen to anyone." Um, Last semester, there was a male student in his dorm in Carmichael, um, and he was followed into his room or into the building, and then he went to his room to do work and was followed into his room and was sexually assaulted on campus. And so his mother has spoken out many times, like spoken to different news outlets like the Daily Tar Heel, and expressed concern for the lack of security on UNC's campus. And as through action, we have not seen any improvements in security. Nothing's really been addressed or done for this student and what he's experienced. What do we already know about this problem? So here are some statistics for broadly speaking sexual assault on all college campuses. So women ages 18 to 24 are at an elevated risk of sexual violence. Women ages 18 to 24 who are in college are 3 times more likely to experience sexual violence. Women ages 18 to 24 who are also not in college or on a college campus are 4 times more likely to experience it. 13% of all students, undergraduate and graduate, experience rape or sexual assault through physical force, violence, or incapacitation throughout their education experience. To break that up more, there is 26.4% of undergraduate females and 6.8% of undergraduate males, 9.7% of graduate females, and 2.5% of graduate males. Here is a graph showing the average age when victims were sexually assaulted. As we can see, the before 18 and 18 to 24 age groups have a majority of the percentage of victims' ages. Personally, I came to college at 17, so that before 18 all the way up until 24, I think a lot of the 17-year-olds who are coming into college are grouped into that before 18, which is really important to note. And as the age groups go up, it gets lower and lower. I have another graph here that shows reasons why victims did not report their experiences, and this is actually an often occurrence. So on the left, we have the percentage of the reason we have students, and on the right, we have non-students, and on each side, we have the correlating percent of people, what their reasoning was for not reporting. So there's everything from they reported it, but they didn't report it to the police, so they reported it to a trusted adult and didn't take further action. They believed the police couldn't help or they wouldn't be able to do anything. They didn't want the perpetrator to get in trouble. They believed it wasn't important enough to report. They had a fear of reprisal. They believed it was a personal matter, and there are other reasons, which is really unfair to these victims because we have made it seem like they cannot report their assaults. I have this final graph, and it's how the campus sexual assault victims describe their assailants. The purple bars are victims who were forced, and the yellow bars are people who were incapacitated, so they might suffer a disability, or they were under the influence. And so many people reported it occurring from a friend. A lot of people reported it from an acquaintance. And then it gets a little bit lower, but there's a lot of people who their assailant was a dating partner, a spouse, an ex, or they were on a date when it happened. And a lot of people who were forced into it had never seen or talked to this person. Why does this problem still persist? So I have laid out 3 reasons why I believe this problem still persists. The first is the laws regarding sexual assault and rape. So according to North Carolina law, individuals who have male anatomy cannot be raped, which is unfair to victims who go through traumatic events like this, such as the male student at UNC who was assaulted in his dorm, which what most would consider rape was denoted to just sexual assault because of North Carolina's definition of rape and his anatomy. The second reason why I believe this issue still persists is Alert Carolina and UNC. So this is why I believe this still persists, more specifically at UNC and on campus here. So I'm sure we're all aware UNC sends texts or emails letting students, faculty, and staff know about weather, shelter-in-place warnings, and crimes like theft or assault. So in the fall, when the numerous sexual assaults were reported within the span of a week, students heard about these reports through the grapevine. And Alert Carolina was sent out a week after these reports occurred, leaving students, faculty, and staff across campus uninformed. So there was a period of 7 days from when all of these crimes were being reported to when students and other people not involved in the situation were reported, which is very unfair. It left a lot of people wondering what happened and just walking around campus not informed, so they weren't sure that there was a danger. Um, a lot of times, these assaults will happen off campus as well, in apartments or houses off campus. And most of the time, Alert Carolina does not alert students, faculty, and staff about those assaults as well, which is an issue as well. And then the final reason I have is reporting the incidents and just the lack of people that do report. Today's society has deterred people from reporting their assaults. As shown in that graph a few slides before, they fear several things like no one believing them, being shamed for reporting, not having enough evidence, fearing the repercussions of reporting their attacker, and many other reasons. Here are my references. And thank you.